It was one of the worst endings I've seen in a wrestling match. Like, you have this perfect setup, right? Like, as much as I am not on board with the Acclaimed, as much as I'm the one guy apparently who doesn't love the Acclaimed, listen, I understand what they're doing. Everyone loves the Acclaimed except me. So that's great. Make them the tag champs. I get it. They're going to be really popular. They're over. You need things like that right now. But you gave them the belts in a way that was so fundamentally wrong. It's not, it made them look weak. It made them look pathetic. It made it look like they needed ref distractions and their manager to win. They're not the bad guys.
Hey, wrestling fans, welcome to the One Winged Wrestling Podcast, where two wrestling elitists discuss or review AEW events and wrestling news from around the world. At One Winged Wrestling, our motto is, we go where the elite go. I'm your host, Christian and I, and joining me as always, Mr. Bill Cutbush. Bill, how's it going today?
It's going. I'm excited to talk some wrestling today for sure. It's we got the big event tonight, and we're gonna predict it, we're gonna review it. We're going to get into some news, but it was that kind of day today where it just kept threatening to storm.
I know.
To storm. And then we got like little sprinkles of rain, and that was about it. And like all day it was like, ooh, look at the radar and these giant clouds bearing it. And then we got nothing. It was nothing.
Yeah, you're right. I was working and suddenly everything got dark. Mm-hmm. So I turned the light on. And then everything got light. I turned the light off. And then I looked up, I saw the wind blowing. Wow, it's really gonna come down. And nothing happened. It was just darkness and light and wind. And I was like, wow, absolutely no rain. So yeah, it was kind of like, they're like, psych. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For people who don't know, Toronto essentially exists in this like bubble weather shield, where many major weather systems either pass north of us or south of us over the lake, and we get mist regularly. So we get all these threats of imminent dangerous weather, and it just hits everywhere around us and completely misses us. And today was one of those days again. So cool beans. Maybe it bodes well. The storm passed without incident.
Interesting.
Yes,
So yeah.
yes.
So as you, for all the listeners, as you may or may not know, because we have been announcing it a while, that we are going to be focused on more, well, our podcast is kind of switching, or I should say evolving into more of a wrestling focused podcast. So you'll probably notice that through our wrestling podcasts themselves are probably the longest podcasts we have, just because we always have so much news to talk about. And then we have to kind of like predict our matches. And then we have to go watch the show for Dynamite, for example, come back and give you our thoughts and our reactions to that show. Well, we realized that these actually take a very long time, not very long time, but we actually have a lot to talk about. And we made the decision to actually have a show on Monday. So switching our Monday show to basically an all wrestling news show. So we can expand on topics. We have more time to let things breathe, I should say, and not rush through everything during our Wednesday podcast where we have to predict Dynamite and give you our feedback. We still are going to keep up with the news within, like, let's say if something happens on a Tuesday, for example, right? Or even a Wednesday. We're still going to keep up with that information and provide that on the Wednesday podcast, but it'll be a lot more lighter than what these ones are used to. So this is going to be your last full-fledged long One Wing Wrestling podcast show, but it's for I think it's for the better. I think
absolutely. And I just want to emphasize too, we'll be doing a show about news, but we're going to have some fun with it too. It's going to be news. It's not just going to be another wrestling news show, right? Look, we go where the elite goes. And that will drive the kind of news you're going to hear. And we don't just mean the elite isn't the elite. We mean the wrestlers that we consider to be elite and the kind of wrestling that we consider to be elite, which means you're not going to get WWE coverage on that news show unless something like amazingly earth-shattering that we absolutely have to discuss appears there. But by and large, you're going to get news about AEW, New Japan, some of the indie circuit, wrestlers we like, wrestlers we don't, and you'll see it'll evolve and develop. Hey, this is a great opportunity for all of you, because this is a time that we're going to start growing, And we want you guys to grow right along with us. It is phase 1 of a whole new era for one-winged wrestling.
I'm actually excited. What's going to happen to our show once the Fight Forever game comes out? I believe there's going to be a lot of discussion about that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, again, always evolving as it should be. I think when things stay the same, it becomes kind of stale sometimes. So yeah, you know what? We're evolving. We've kind of made a decision on our own. Like we didn't have to listen to anybody's like giving us like much feedback, but like people have been telling us a few things, and we hear you, everyone. We hear you.
Yes, absolutely. And we will always hear you. Anytime any of you want to contact us, it's simple. Just leave a comment, leave a review. We would advocate you leaving the review. If you like what you hear, give us that 5-star review. Yeah. Those really help us. We'll be able to give you even better shows. Leave some comments. Let us know what you're thinking. We'd love to hear from you.
Agreed.
But on that note, this week have to get to news and notes. So shall we get into it?
Let's jump right in.
Okay. So the first news item is it is now officially confirmed Malakai Black himself on September 17th after his Prestige Wrestling. He was at Prestige Wrestling at their Perseverance show. And after his match, he got a mic and he said that he is, in fact, taking a break from wrestling. And he was pretty generalized about it. He just said, so for 22 years that I've given my absolute everything to you who are more than deserving of it. Let me put out there, you've all been fantastic, but please allow me to take a few weeks, maybe a few months to just recalibrate myself, get everything in perspective. I promise you this is not goodbye. This is just we'll see each other soon. And that was a good statement, but later on Instagram, he had to clear some air because he was kind of upset that some of his private conversations with AEW had been leaked onto the internet.
Oh, okay.
And he actually said on Instagram, he confirmed, in fact, that he did ask for his release. He said that both himself and his wife, WWE Selena Vega, for those of you who don't know, were affected by what he, quote, said were uncontrollable actions from the outside that resulted in loss of life, medical setbacks, career jeopardizing, the passing of a close friend by way of suicide, and a close family member almost losing their life. He added that there was an injury that he was sure would end his career. He said that he attends rehab, dry needling, and therapy sessions every week just to be able to walk and compete.
Oh my God.
He mentioned that this is just the tip of the iceberg, along with promises in his professional field that were not upheld, which resulted in demoralization of his life and career. This decision has been on Black's mind for the past 6 months. He cannot pinpoint when exactly things went south, but he knows he needs to hit the brakes.
Yeah.
So that's what Malakai Black has said, and he will not be around, perhaps never again in AEW, but for the foreseeable future in wrestling.
Yeah. And it's sad to see. I mean, obviously, from that comment on his Instagram, like kind of sheds a lot more light on things that were happening or things that have happened for him. So first and foremost, like we love Malakai Black, Tommy End. So, I mean, take as much time as you need. Wherever you end up, it's fine. That's fine. Just as long as you're better. Like, I mean, after now hearing that he's doing all this therapy just so he can walk, that's concerning to me, right? That's kind of like maybe you need to step away from wrestling because that's not worth it. Like it's like wrestling might be your love, but it's not worth that, right? So I'm glad he's taking some time away. Him and his wife Thea Trinidad, Selena Vega. I really do hope that he does return to AEW, but that comment, that doesn't sound very good, right? I mean, we've talked about this at End. We're like, the Malakai Black character is so cool, but they weren't doing anything with him. Anything. I was like, give him a feud, give him someone, and nothing. There's absolutely nothing. So, I'm not pointing the finger here at Malakai in any way because his promos and everything he did was perfect. So you know what? I don't blame the wrestler in this case. Sorry, Toni, you got to take the fall for this one. And who knows? You know what? Maybe this is another one of those. Tony Khan was taking on too much, and now that he's got the help that he needs with booking, maybe things will get better. But one thing I did see was I believe AEW trademarked House of Black, right?
Yes.
So, which is great, right? It's good in terms of like, and they're keeping the members kind of together still. So I think Tony Khan is still holding out hope that, you know, Malachi decides to whenever it is, come back, because I think that would be a huge return. Huge return. But I'm just happy for that Malachi is trying to get better, because again, as I said, if it's between walking and wrestling, I'm gonna say Malachi, choose walking.
Yeah. I know that there has always been an attitude you've got to kind of suck it up and put it on for the fans, and this is the way the industry is and that kind of thing. But you hear these stories all the time of wrestlers who are just so injured they can barely move, and they keep going out there. And listen, guys, I love your commitment to wrestling, but man, like seriously, it's okay to take time off if you're hurt. Please take time off if you're hurt. I value your life and that kind of thing more than I value you standing in a wrestling ring.
Yeah.
Now, part of the problem with that is they only get paid if they're working.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, for wrestlers who haven't necessarily put aside some money, etc. I mean, that's where, you know, you're hoping that in AEW and stuff, you know, that some of these places now are helping look after the wrestlers a little better when they're hurt. Right, because I mean that's really part of what the problem is. Some of them are reluctant to take time off because if they take time off, they're not earning money.
But I think AEW has taken a step in the right direction. I believe, and I believe Meltzer had said this, that AEW actually does help pay for their medical bills, right? So if and by help pay, I think they actually pay them. So I mean, at least that's good, because, you know, on other wrestling, you know, shows or promotions, I should say, they don't do that because they're contract workers, right? So in your contract, you paid by when you work, kind of thing. So yeah, maybe wrestling needs to evolve, something like that. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, look at we lost Kenny for an entire year because of injuries. He just said, I would get rid of tomorrow, or I would look at tomorrow.
Yeah.
A year, right? It's not worth it. You're totally right. It's not worth it. You're hurt. Like, hey, look at Forbidden Door. Remember we were playing that game? Who was gonna get hurt next? I'm just glad that people didn't force themselves. And look at this, Adam Cole. When's he coming back? Kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
like this, like just these injuries that keep piling up. And yeah, your health is more important. We would rather see you wrestling healthy, 100%, than see you wrestling injured and then never wrestle again.
Precisely. Yeah, it's a problem that you still see in the industry, unfortunately. It's getting better. It's definitely getting better. More people are willing to say, and especially when it comes to the mental health aspect, because that clearly is playing a large role in this as well, right?
Yes,
he needs time off to clear his head, right? He says he hasn't done that in 2 decades. He needs some time off to just clear his head and figure stuff out, which is you know what? I have so much respect for that approach. That's great.
Yep.
All right.
Agreed.
And it was reported by Dave Meltzer that he asked for his release so he could go to WWE.
Oh,
yep, that was on one of the podcasts this week on Wrestling Observer.
If that's the case, you know, again, as I said, I've liked Malachi Black regardless of where he was, right? And if that's the decision he wants to make now that, you know, they're under new rule or whatever, so be it. It's his decision at the end of the day, right?
Yep, and I'm sorry I won't be seeing any more of your matches if you do that, Malachi, but you know.
Yeah, hey, it's one of those things where it's like, I totally understand where he's coming from. You're made, the people promise you things, they don't deliver. Guess what? Like, why would you have any type of like why would you want to stay? So you know what? Yeah, I think.
That brings us into the whole problem again too of just too many guys, not enough booking, and using guys weird. So I'm hoping that we're starting to see like a corner being turned now where hopefully there's going to be more concentration on certain guys. There aren't a lot of people floating out there anymore as free agents to sign. I mean, WWE is going to be as an attractive place now as AEW for wrestlers to go to. So you know what? You know what they really need to work on now? And I've heard this said in other circles too. They need to build up their talent. They need to build up their interior talent, right? And Tony's got to turn some eye to that and hopefully start using Dark and Elevation as a way to do that better.
Yeah.
You know, the advantage WWE's got is that performance center, right?
Yep.
They've got NXT, so why not use Dark and Dark Elevation in the same way? Stop doing it as squash matches and this kind of stuff, and start putting real stories with real feuds and real build-up.
Well, that's the thing. Like just randomly, like I was watching TV yesterday, and I was watching actually YouTube. So clearly, I was watching AEW stuff, and I passed out for like I have no idea how long I passed out, but when I woke up, they were playing AEW Dark. And I don't know which episode it was. It could have been even yesterday's or the day before. But right. Anthony Ogogo cuts a promo on it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
How many times have you heard Anthony Ogogo talk?
Like never.
Never. He cuts this promo where he's like, and it was like almost. It was like I'm trying to figure out. It was almost like a CM Punk style promo where he was like, I was promised this. I was told I was gonna get this, but I think the people in the back are just afraid of me. And he kept going. He's like, I'm here to take out anyone who wants a challenge. And I was like, oh, okay. So Anthony Ogogo's going to do something now. Whereas I'm like, why are you showing this on Dark? Because you're not even promoting it. Like, right. I'm sorry. You have you have Dark on YouTube. So why don't you clip things out of Dark like you do with Dynamite and put it up saying Dark, I guess something of the week, right? The best part of the week, right?
Yeah.
Put it up. People will see, oh, wow, best promo of the week or something. Like at least promote it a little bit, right? I you have to go through that entire Dark episode just to get to that. See, that's the problem where they're kind of failing a bit.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah.
Should I message my buddy Tony Khan? Like, hey Tony, by the way.
Yeah, Tony. Well, we know he's listening, right? So Tony, yeah. Tony Khan's listening.
Tony Khan, who's also turning 40 years old, and
that makes him your age, dude.
Billionaire. What have I done with my life? Anyways, continue.
Well, these days, who's having more fun? Just saying.
That's true. Definitely not Tony Khan. Definitely not Tony Khan.
So there you go. Yep. Well, speaking of no fun, we have an update on the investigation into the backstage brawl at All Out. The update is there's almost no update. Those who were suspended that were not directly involved in the fight, it is official. All of them have been released from their suspensions. They're getting involved in other stuff. Christopher Daniels was wrestling on the weekend and stuff again.
Of course, Cutler's back. As well. Brandon Cutler's
back.
Yes,
he is, and hopefully this means he can get some serious airtime, and we can see some Brandon Cutler matches, which would be kind of great. Yeah, I mean, there is one member of the Elite who can actually wrestle right now.
Yeah, you're right. You're totally right.
Yeah, exactly. And so can Michael Nakazawa. So maybe they should form a tag team and go after the belts.
Oh my God, can they call themselves the B team?
No, they can't, because they're not that lame. They should call themselves the D.M.D team.
You would assume they would use these guys for something. Again, we're gonna wait. We're not gonna pass judgments. We're just gonna wait.
Yes, and of course there were the usual, like it's like so many places are so desperate for a story around this and so desperate for it to continue that they have to push non-stories all week.
Yep.
Like that stuff about Kenny not being banned from competing at AAA, right? Completely ludicrous because he wasn't on the card in the first place. All that happened was AAA asked if he was available, and AEW said, nope, their suspended talent's not allowed to wrestle anywhere. Yeah, Kenny banned from AAA. I mean, come on. This is like the lowest clickbait form of reporting. And it's the kind of thing
because there's nothing to report.
But I promise I'm never going to engage in that stuff. Okay. Like you've heard it now in black and white. If we're going to report something, it's going to have a basis in fact or from a reputable source, period. Otherwise, we're not reporting it. We will mock it, but we won't report it.
Very true. Very true.
Yep. So that brings us now to, we had a couple of interviews that took place this week too, to talk about some real news that has potential for the upcoming show. We did have some information about from MJF when he was talking about New Japan and Okada
and everything, basically.
Yeah, and basically everything. But this was on the Ariel Helwani podcast, And he slammed New Japan pretty thoroughly on that podcast, and had some pretty disparaging stuff to say about Okada. Clearly, he was doing the entire interview in character, so this was not real life Maxwell.
Yeah, like I watched both the Ariel Helwani podcast and I watched the wrestling podcast, and both same exact thing, like just everything he was saying. And he said, ask me what you want to ask me. He's like, they asked so what happened backstage, can you talk about it? He's like, no, I can't. Next question. Right. And that's it. Like and the one thing I noticed about this MJF promoting AEW like it's nothing. Like at one point he kind of said, well, everyone's so worried about AEW, but we're doing great. We're actually doing great.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. He's like, yeah, people were shocked saying, oh, well, not Fox, but the Warner Brothers executives, stuff like that. It's like, no, he's like, we're constantly either 1 or 2 on Wednesday nights. I'm like, okay, this is a different, and this is a different MJF. And he's like, yeah, he goes, the deal is coming through imminently, right? Yep. And the whole, so I thought that was kind of funny. I'm like, okay, because clearly, Tony, when I saw this, I made this comment last week. I could tell Tony Khan has full control of his locker room now. Full control. So I saw MJF's, like, all the promotions putting guys over and stuff like that. Then he starts talking about his contract and how Tony he hasn't signed. Again, I still think he's doing this in kayfabe, like everything he's doing here is kayfabe. But you're right. The most interesting thing, I thought that it was just snippets, but I caught onto it in both of them was, I don't understand how Okada could be higher than me on the PWI Pro Wrestling Insiders list, right?
Yeah.
Like he may have been good in 2015 or 16, and I'm like, why are you attacking Okada like this? And then he's like, in New Japan, he goes, when the bidding war happens, like, yeah, he goes, I'll go pretty much wherever the money's higher, except New Japan.
Yes.
Right? And I'm like, wow, what this is showing me is exactly what I think is going to happen. MJF is going to win this belt eventually. Like before the year is over, and he's guaranteed this as well. He's winning this belt.
Right.
Okada is going to challenge him for that belt. There's going to be an MJF Okada feud, which I was like, I don't think I wanted that, but yeah, I'll take it.
Could we get a champion versus a champion at Wrestle Kingdom?
Oh my goodness, that would be absolutely amazing. And MJF said, maybe he'll hold the belts until January 1st, 2024, and then who knows, right? And interesting thing about the belt, as he said, he's all about the money. But the AEW championship is the most prestigious championship in wrestling.
No, you can tell. And it's, what I think it is too? It's not so much that Tony Khan is like laying down the law of Vince McMahon style. I think what's happened is they realized their mistake, and all the guys, Jericho, Danielson, Tony Khan at the head, have laid down a vision. This is what we need to do, guys. This is how we need to move forward. Right. And it seems to be a vision that everyone's buying into, right? And to me, that's a wonderful thing, because finally, it feels to me like we're getting good stories. I'm intrigued. I'm interested in MJF again, and which is great, because I mean, I now that he's back, I kind of missed him, right? What the common denominator in the whole thing was? Like, I'm just kind of, and I hate to say this, I'm just kind of glad CM Punk's gone.
Yeah, and the weird part is, like, MJF talked about he's engaged, so congratulations, MJF, on that.
Yeah, good luck to your wife.
Did you hear the way he was talking? I was like, oh my goodness. But again, guys, come on, like, this is full on character mode. He's going
of course.
But one comment he made that really stuck out to me was when they asked him about his pay. And he wouldn't give the number, and not about Tony, but he said, what I did was I went in, I looked up the top paying guys at WWE, I looked at the top paying guys at AEW, and top paying guys in Impact. And he's like, the numbers didn't make sense. So I'm like, and the guy who was interviewed said, wait, are you trying to say that you were getting paid less than people on Impact Wrestling? And he's like, I'm not saying that. either way. And I'm like, you're literally saying it by not saying it. And I was like, and if that's the case, I'm like, okay, Tony Khan, you were really messing up with this guy, like legit messing up with this guy, right? But as you said, I am happy to see him back now. He is still the same tool that you love to hate, right?
Yes.
And you can tell like where this is going. And he said like so Tony Khan actually made a clarification on the chip.
Yes,
chip
yes, he did.
Versus the some battle royale. I forget where.
Yeah, there's the golden ticket happening this Friday on Rampage where you get a golden ticket, and he's clarified the chip. Now he can cash it in during any sanctioned event and can get a match, but Tony Khan has to authorize the match.
Yes.
Right.
Whereas the other one, it can be like it has to be a set time and place. So yeah, it is kind of cool. A little bit different than Money in the Bank where just bringing somebody out. But again, Tony Khan has authorized it. What if MJF says, Tony Khan, I want a match right now, right after this person's spot, right?
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a good interview. I actually enjoyed the interview. It was funny as normal. As usual, I should say. And Tony Khan's interview was telling as well because they asked him about the money that paying. They asked him about just what he's doing right now, and he said he can't really talk about it. Right, because it's tied up in legal things. And yeah, I there is something about like Tony Khan again, just this guy, the money man. Like he talks about the money. I was like, holy crap, this guy is loaded. So he knows how to manage stuff. Yeah. Right. So I'm very, very interested in terms of like what's going to happen next now. So when are the Bucks come back? When is Mega come back? And then what happens next?
Right. Yeah, no. And I think part of it is too, is apparently he's leaning a little more on Tony Schiavone.
Yes.
And that guy knows how to make a wrestling promotion fail because he lived through it. Right. With WCW. Yeah. He lived through it. So he knows the pitfalls. He knows the mistakes. He knows how not to manage talent. Right.
Yeah.
He's seen it all. And he's got a great wrestling mind. So the fact that he's actually kind of in there as a right hand, you got Christopher Daniels there helping out. You've got these are all steady, solid Pat Buck, steady, solid names in the industry, and these are the guys that he's now surrounded himself with to help him with the promotion. And everything takes time to lay out, these guys all just got these positions at a couple months back at most, right?
Yeah.
It's a new promotion. It's only been around for a few years now. They've just made some changes. They are now up against a totally different WWE, right? Give them time and let's see what happens. And I think that they finally getting over this was kind of hitting the bottom for them. And now they got nowhere to go but forward. And I mean, from what I've seen the last couple weeks on Dynamite, we've had some really, really good Dynamites.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I think a clear path has been drawn now. And I think we're in for some good entertainment. Like this show again. Like we're gonna get into the show in a second, but the way they're promoting it is this is the biggest thing they do, right? During the year.
Yeah.
And Tony said this. He wants this to be the biggest wrestling event in New York.
Yep. And he said this will be pay-per-view quality. Ooh. Which means we're getting half the matches where we're like, why was this on the pay-per-view? But in all seriousness, and he also said there's going to be some surprises.
Oh, is Adam Cole coming back today?
I don't know. But speaking of surprises, just before we get to tonight's show, I just wanted to do a quick rundown because I always think this is interesting. We were talking about New Japan, we were talking about AEW, and New Japan Strong is their North America television show. And this Saturday, we are getting 4 matches, 3 of which involve AEW talent. So we've got Kita taking on QT Marshall. We've got Christopher Daniels tag team with Yuya Uemura. Remember him?
Yeah, I do.
And they're taking on Bad Dude Tito and Shane Hayes, TMDK. They're an independent tag team from I believe, the Pacific Northwest. We've got the non-AEW match, Ren Narita taking on Jacob Austin Young. And headlining the show, we have Alan Angels taking on Taiji Ishimori. That sounds like it's going to be a heck of a match.
Interesting. I like Alan Angels. Again, another talent that was kind of, I'm not gonna say misused because hey, when you got Kenny Omega and stuff like that, and if you want to hear about the Kenny Omega Allen Angels thing, go read up on it. It's actually pretty cool. But like, yeah, I don't think he was misused. I don't think there was a spot for him. You know what I mean? Like when you have these big names, there wasn't a spot. So I'm glad. Hey, I'm glad he's doing okay.
Yep.
Glad he's doing perfectly
100%.
fine.
I'm going to check that match out. And part of what we're going to do on these new Mondays is we're going to have a look at Rampage highlights, Dark Elevation highlights, and JPW highlights. Are there matches out there that came close to or reached the Omega level?
Before you jump into the shows, I got one question for you, Bill.
Okay.
What is up with Sammy Guevara? So, and again, this could be all kayfabe. He's been posting kind of weird things recently. After his loss to Mox, I was like, who did he fight? Moxley. Kind of cryptic, as in like maybe it's a time, it's a time for change, stuff like that. And he actually posted stuff with like his first match at AEW with Cody Rhodes. So I was like, what is that? Anyways, again, again, speculation. Who knows what's happening? Maybe Sammy's like playing into something else. But I'm just saying, again, we have to remember who the pillars of AEW are, guys. So let's just remember that.
Yes, exactly.
And we've seen Sammy live, and he is as good as he is on TV. Live, he's absolutely fantastic as well. So yeah, it's like Sammy Guevara, like, I mean,
yes.
You are just hilarious, and honestly, I hope you stay with Chris Jericho forever.
yes, that would be kind of awesome. And with that, we will now turn to having a quick look at Dynamite Grand Slam coming to us from Arthur Ashe Stadium in New York. We've got 5 announced matches for this. You ready to go through them?
Let's do it.
Okay. We have the AEW Interim Women's World Championship match. Toni Storm, the champion, taking on, it's basically the 4 from last week. Toni Storm taking on Serena Deeb, Athena, and Dr. Britt Baker, D.M.D.
I think this is going to be as good as last week. I think it's going to be a good match. You know, instead of the tag team, it's going to be a 4-way match. I do think that Toni Storm is going to retain. I think it's too early for her to lose the belt. But if she does lose, I want that to actually Jamie Hayter to take it, right? That being said, I think the bad blood between Britt and Hayter, it's going to spill over again. So my prediction is as Britt costed the top, Britt was the reason that Jamie lost last match. I think Jamie's going to cost Britt the win here. So that's my prediction.
Interference.
Okay. Well, they're all in the match, so really interference.
Jamie Hayter's not in the match.
Oh, I thought it was Jamie Hayter in the match. Oh,
no,
shoot.
It's Storm, Deeb, Athena, and Baker.
Oh, okay. So yes, I do think it's gonna be interference by.
Okay. I think that Toni Storm is going to retain as well. I think it's too early for her to lose the belt. I think you're absolutely right. This is going to further somehow the Britt Baker Jamie Hayter feud. I'd love to see Serena Deeb win this match.
I know.
My heart is in Serena Deeb winning this match, but I think Toni Storm's going to retain. But I think it's going to be a good match. I'm looking forward to it.
From last week, I could see it being a good match.
Absolutely. Speaking of matches that have potential, we also have an AEW All-Atlantic Championship match. We've got Pac defending his belt against Orange Cassidy.
This is a tough match because, like, we give our predictions for match of the night, like this could be match of the night. This could be the dark horse, right? It's gonna be great. I kind of want Orange Cassidy to win. I want him with a belt. Like what I thought was last week when Pac and Death Triangle won that the trios. I'm like, wait, this opens up the like someone else to carry this All Atlantic Championship. And why not give it to the person who doesn't care about anything? The One Punch Man of AEW. Give it to Orange Cassidy. Like, give it to this guy. Like, I would be like, listen, if Pac wins, great. I'd be over the moon if Cassidy wins. And I'm gonna put my money today. I'm gonna say Cassidy's gonna win this belt.
As much as I love Pac, my money is also, my heart is also with Orange Cassidy. I would love to see him win a belt because too long he's been the guy that they can count on to build up on short notice for a match when they need to have a big match, right?
Yeah.
That's been his role. And it hasn't hurt him a whole lot because he's Orange Cassidy. And, we're all going to love Orange Cassidy regardless because he puts on great matches. humor, and amazing wrestling. He's got the perfect balance of the two. I love this guy.
He's so good.
He's so good. And I would love to see him with a belt. That kind of a title reign, I just seriously, this man needs a belt. He needs a belt now. He needs to go over Pac as much as I love Pac. Pac's got the trios thing going on. He's a phenomenal wrestler. He doesn't really need the All Atlantic Championship. Can we put it on Orange Cassidy, please?
Please. I agree.
Please.
I'm with you
This
there.
this could be my moment of the night,
I
if not my
know. I
match of the
know.
night, right? Next up, we have the Ring of Honor World Championship match. Claudio Castagnoli taking on Chris Jericho, who the one major championship Jericho says he's never won in his career is the ROH World Championship.
And I don't think he's going to win it. I think it's still going to be a Claudio. But hey, stranger things have happened. If you want to put some legitimacy on like a belt, why not give it to Chris Jericho, right? This guy makes everything, like it makes everyone want what he has, right? Like look what he did with the AEW championship. Remember we had said, oh, why would you give it to Jericho first? Or wow, it's Jericho. But what he did to that championship, like it made it like worth something, right?
Yes.
So I don't think he's gonna win, but I kind of want him to win just so he can put some legitimacy on that title. Not that it's not legitimate. I'm just saying.
I know.
You know?
Oh yeah, I know. And that's the thing, right? Is that, look, Claudio Castagnoli's great, but Jericho's got personality for days.
Yes.
Yeah. And Castagnoli's fine. He's a good wrestler. I'm not going to put him in the oh my god great category, but he's
Agreed.
good. He's definitely, he puts on good matches. He has a good move set. Looks like he kills people out there. Super strong. I enjoy watching his matches. I'm going to go out on a limb though and say this will probably be the worst match of the 5 we're looking at tonight.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Yep. And that doesn't mean it's going to be a bad match. This has the potential to be a good storytelling kind of match, although there's almost no story going into it other than Jericho's never won the ROH title, and it is JAS versus Blackpool Combat Club again. So there's that angle to it. But, and I guess, we could see some Daniel Garcia involved in this again, right? So we'll have to see what happens. There's a lot that could happen around this match. And if we're going to get shenanigans and plot forwarding, this would be the match to do it in.
Well, why wouldn't you want Jericho to hold the ROH championship and Garcia holding the pure title, right? They own ROH, right? Like that would be so cool.
Oh, I hadn't even thought of that. That's amazing. That is amazing. And it's funny too, because Toni keeps pushing for a weekly ROH show, which, you know what? If they had a weekly ROH show, I'd watch it. Because then I know this is the guys that are on ROH.
Yeah.
Right. I'd want to see that.
Jericho can defend on both shows. Like he can be on ROH, like doing his things, have storylines there and everything.
Wait. We don't need the last words we ever want to hear are brand split.
No. Exactly. Okay. We don't know. But give their own show is fine. Right.
Okay. Gotcha. Own show. Fair enough. So next up, we have the AEW World Tag Team Championship match. Swerve in Our Glory taking on the Acclaimed.
Yeah, I think this is going to be sorry. I think this is going, I was gonna say the match of the night. I think this is gonna be my match of the night. Just because I love Swerve in Our Glory so much. The only negative thing this match has going for it is I know who's gonna win it. I know who's gonna win. Right? I know it's Swerve and Lee are gonna lose the belts to the Acclaim, and I'm like, okay. One thing Toni did bring up in his press conference. We should never do a press conference again. But in his interview, was, did you know the Acclaimed are the most winningest tag team in AEW? Because I didn't know that, because they rarely show stats anymore. But Tony Khan said, did you know the Acclaimed are the most winningest tag team in AEW? And like, I did not know that.
Did you know that phrase is one of the most worstest grammar phrases I've heard in a long time?
They're the most winningest tag team in AEW.
Winningest. That's very different. Okay.
Right? Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't even know that. I was like, okay, thanks for dropping that now. So he's like, this is why they deserved another title shot. I was like, oh, so this is how we're going to justify it now. All right.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. We're going to give them another, and we're just going to put the belts on them, because if they don't, everyone's going to riot. And yeah, because you know what I've heard? I've heard everybody loves the Acclaimed.
Hey, I love the Acclaimed. I love the Acclaimed still. You may not like the Acclaimed. I love the Acclaimed still.
Yeah, good for you.
But
I'm sure at some point they will request the scissors from Daddy.
From Daddy ass, yeah. But I I think this is going to be the match of the night. I think the match they put on the pay-per-view, hence pay-per-view caliber matches. The match they put on the pay-per-view was absolutely fantastic. So I want this match to be as good, if not better. The only downfall is that I know my tag team, Swerve in Our Glory, is not going to retain these belts.
This is another one. It's like all these matches tonight, I've got such a heart pick in it. I want Swerve in Our Glory to win this match so bad.
Same.
It's like they're just really hitting a wonderful stride as a tag team. They're so good together. I love their matches. The common denominator in all of these great tag team matches that have been out there recently are Swerve in Our Glory.
Yep. Agreed.
You know, yeah, the Acclaim's good, but let's not forget who the heck they've been up against, right? These two guys are phenomenal in the ring, both of them. They both play their roles really well. I love these guys. Remember, these were guys that came in and I'm like, why are these guys on my TV screen? Exactly. Now I'm like, man, this is one of my favorite tag teams, right? And I got a sneaking feeling that the bell is now tolling for them. And I don't want that to happen yet. I want them to win tonight. I wish they would win tonight, but I know they're not going to win tonight. And I simply cannot give this my potential match of the night. My dark horse match is Pac and Orange Cassidy.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I'm picking as my potential match of the night.
There's only one match left, so I know exactly what you're picking.
And that's going to be Jon Moxley taking on Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, no. This is, again, a hard-hitting match. Like, these guys are going to kill each other. I am very excited to see Bryan Danielson win this belt. Now, I could be totally wrong. He may not win this belt at all. It may be Moxley, but I think Moxley deserves some time off. 2 weeks, whatever. Give him some time off, right? Mm-hmm. But I think it's Bryan Danielson's time. I think it's going to be a great match. I think it's going to be hard hitting. Great way to close out the show. I think MJF is going to be here today, just to kind of be like, he's going to be the next one taking that belt from Bryan Danielson. And I'd love to see more Bryan Danielson on the mic. That's it. That's all I want. I just want more Bryan Danielson on the mic, right? Yep. Like, he's not going to be that weirdo who WWE wanted him to be, like Captain Planet and everyone hated. No.
Oh, come on, that was
himself.
Fun.
No, I loved it. Yeah. And that's why when that guy shouted he doesn't recycle, like I couldn't stop laughing.
Exactly.
But like, I have a feeling that it is Bryan Danielson's time. Mm-hmm. And this is, again, showing people who are watching that, hey, you know, we have people here who can carry the belt with pride, who aren't going to make a mockery of it, who aren't going to use it as a platform, mm-hmm. right? And are going to just want to wrestle with it, right? And let's be realistic. One of the best wrestlers we have, right? So I'm excited. I think it's going to be a great match. You are probably right. This could steal the entire show. I can come back after the show and be like, you know what? You were right. You were right. And I was wrong. But hey, we'll find out.
Yeah, I cannot wait for this match. I cannot wait for it. Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson, Blackpool Combat Club. Danielson, we'll have to see how bad that foot is from last week still, right? Like, is that going to play a role in the match? You know, and then the shadow hanging over it all is MJF and his chip.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Does this mean we may get a second title match on Rampage where he suddenly goes, I want my match, and Tony Khan's like, fine, you can have it on Rampage.
Ooh, that would push it over the top.
I know.
Oh,
Could you imagine? Yeah, that would make Rampage absolute must-see television. But I think that would also be problematic because I think when he cashes it in, you know he's winning.
Well, but here's the thing. This is how you play it out. Danielson and Moxley absolutely murder each other tonight, mm-hmm. to the point where they're barely standing, and Danielson barely can squeak out the win, like just collapses.
Which is what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, and then he's just not ready.
Yeah,
for Friday.
Yeah,
right.
Yep. Yeah. No. Absolutely. And then you get what would probably be great about that is like a total MJF gloat fest the whole time, right? Like it would just be pure MJF all over that. I think I'd be sad though to see a 2-day Bryan Danielson title reign.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that either. I want a bit
No.
longer.
If you're going to do that, then you got to put the title on Mox.
Yeah, agreed.
Right.
Agreed. Yeah.
And then MJF takes Mox out so bad that he sends him on vacation, setting up a
That
really
would
good
work.
feud when
That
he
would
comes
work
back.
too. That
Yeah.
would work.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
he's been jawing at Moxley, not
He
Danielson.
has. He has. You're right. You're right.
So yeah, I
But he's
mean,
not
if
expecting Danielson to win,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah,
So who
yeah,
knows?
no, I know it could be good. It could what would be really good too is like you could build Danielson up as the guy carrying the company by having him beat MJF
Yeah.
in an
Yeah.
injured state. I mean, the unbeatable champion.
But I think MJF is gonna have the belt by time
He
winter's
may,
coming.
but maybe he loses the chip attempt and down the road.
Oh, but Revolution is first, is it not? November?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Maybe it's Danielson versus MJF at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
you
So
could
that gives
do that too.
Danielson from now till November. So a good
Couple
2 month
months.
run. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
Yep. Sure. And then in November you start setting up Okada and MJF for Wrestle
Ooh,
Kingdom.
that makes sense.
You know,
That actually makes
because
sense.
if they really want to do this right, what they do is because their Wrestle Kingdom and Dynamite are happening on the same night.
Mhm.
You get an agreement between the two to exchange some of their big stars to both shows.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And I mean that way they both benefit from each other.
No, I
But
see that.
we shall see.
That's actually pretty good. Hey, we're gonna find out, right?
We are going to
Shortly.
find out. We are going to. What a night! What a night! I cannot
Pretty
wait for
good.
tonight's wrestling. So on that note, why don't we go watch tonight's wrestling?
Let's do it.
Okay. We'll be back soon, people. We'll be back soon. Well, that was Dynamite Grand Slam.
Yes, it was.
Indeed, it was. And let's just start off by saying, what a set. Like, at least you knew you were in a big time event. That set looked really good. It looked like a pay-per-view set.
Yeah. It was set design was great. I mean, you're right. It looked like it could have been a pay-per-view.
Yeah, and I mean the crowd was like insane all night. Crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so we start off with Excalibur, Tony Schiavone, Taz, and Ian Riccaboni on commentary. And the minute he's on commentary, we're getting an ROH match since he is their commentator. And we get Jericho's music hitting. He comes out. Claudio. Oh, well, let's just stop for a sec. The volume of that crowd singing Judas.
Yep.
That was insane. I got goosebumps listening to it. It was just nuts. They were so loud. And you could see Jericho just soaking it in. But anyway, Castagnoli comes out as well, and he gets a really good reaction too. He requests the code of honor. Jericho gives it begrudgingly. Claudio comes out flying, though. Uppercuts, Irish whips, a high boot to Jericho, taking him out of the ring. Jericho then hides behind Kerry Silken at ringside. Kerry Silken was the owner of ROH from 2004 to 2011 and is actually the guy more or less responsible for the period of time when they came to real prominence as the indie of choice and brought them kind of as the greatest indie among the indies, I guess would be a way to put it. He ends up actually taking down Kerry Silken to the absolute horror of the announce team. But this turns the tables on Claudio. There's an uppercut exchange on the apron until Jericho pokes him in the eye, leading to a suplex to the floor that takes out both guys. Just crazy looking suplex. There's a holy shit chant that goes into commercial. Jericho catches Claudio on the turnbuckle, reverses an avalanche Ricola bomb into a Hurricane Rana. There's a codebreaker countered into a pop-up uppercut by Castagnoli for 2. Sharpshooter by Claudio, but Jericho makes it to the ropes. Jericho goes for a low blow, but this gets countered into a straightjacket Ricola bomb for 2 that just looked amazing. Walls of Jericho, Claudio breaks out of that, stomps him down, and we get the big swing for a long time. He left this thing, I didn't count the rotations, but it was on for quite a while. And then uppercuts him, gets a 2 count. Jericho then goes over and grabs Floyd, but Claudio blocks it. But while Aubrey is distracted, Jericho throws Claudio, almost runs over poor Aubrey. While she's distracted, Jericho low blows Claudio, Judas effect, and covers him. And immediately you hear Riccaboni going, "There's a cloud of dishonor that has enveloped the ROH World Championship." And of course, the Jericho Appreciation Society comes out to appreciate Jericho except Garcia, who doesn't look very happy and only gives Jericho a weak high five. What'd you think?
This was a good match. It was fun. It was fast, faster than I thought it was going to be. These are the type of Jericho matches I like to watch. Like they're not like slow and like a lot of rest holds and stuff like that, right? There were a couple of them, but they were like over with very quickly. Wow, what a way to start open up the show. Like what we wanted to happen happened, right? We both said Claudio was going to win, but we wanted Jericho to win.
Yes.
Think of the stories you can tell now.
Exactly.
Jericho.
Exactly.
Right. So I mean, if you were like, think about it. If you're Tony Khan, you want to get a show for ROH. Well, you have a headliner now on it who can carry like entire promotions. So I'm happy with this match. We had said, oh, this is gonna be the worst match of the night, but that's not saying much. This match was great. This match was great from the start.
And like, it was not the worst match of the night.
No. And I was like, I enjoyed it. I really thought that Jericho and Claudio did a good job, and the ending was perfect. I love the ending because it just adds to the Jericho Appreciation Society. We're going to talk about another ending I very much disliked, but I really enjoyed this. Really enjoyed this.
I also really enjoyed this match a lot more than I thought I was going to. Castagnoli just looks like he kills people with those uppercuts, right?
Yeah.
It just like when he was going at Jericho, it looked like he was destroying him. And, I liked the desperation in Jericho, had to turn to the bat to win, had to get in the low blows. You could tell he was just getting desperate because he wasn't beating him by actually wrestling him. So, it was a good match. It was a well-told match. It leaves a lot of stuff open. He's the ROH champion. Garcia's holding the pure title, but Garcia didn't look so happy. Although the rest of the Appreciation Society was strongly appreciating Jericho, he was mildly appreciating Jericho. So I like where this is going. I like where it's going. So yeah, I was happy with this. Not my match of the night, but not the worst match on the card either.
Mm-hmm.
We then get a preview of the Mox and Danielson match later. Mox is the one person that beat Danielson that he hasn't beaten yet. So Danielson's beaten everyone else who managed to get a win over him except Mox. And Mox just says, I know I'm going to
win. Yep.
Next up, we have the Acclaimed, Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, taking on Swerve and Our Glory for the AEW Tag Team Championship. Swerve comes out in his NBA logo vomit jacket. Both he and Keith Lee are wearing New York colors, and they come out with Fabulous, the New York rapper. I've never heard of him. Have you?
He's actually a rapper from like the 90s. So I was like, he's out here?
I've never heard of him.
Sure.
Is he popular enough? I should have heard of him.
It's not Fabulous, Bill. It's Fabulous. Get it right?
Well, I don't know. They put the thing up on the screen. It said Fabulous. How else do you pronounce the word, right?
I when he walked out, I was like, I was like, who is this? And then they showed the name. I'm like, why is he here? Like, what? Again, what? We'll get back to this in a second. What era am I in right now? Am I back in the 90s or the early 2000s? I was like, oh, sure.
Like, so let me get this straight. Tony Khan has a real fetish now with finding rappers to hang out on AEW.
I think rappers from his generation, because remember, I was saying 90s and 2000s. That's when he would have been listening to like probably all these rappers, right? That's why he's bringing them out. So I'm like, this is Tony Khan who's doing this. This is definitely Tony Khan.
Why couldn't Tony Khan have been into Euro metal?
No.
No, he's into 90s rap. Great. So Fabulous. I'm sorry, Fabulous.
Fabulous.
Yeah, okay, Fabulous. Whatever. I mean, okay, fine. Comes out. And then the Acclaim comes out. There is a huge pop for the Acclaim. Yeah, it was just nuts. But Max Caster delivers what I would call a fairly tame rap. He mentions Rudy Como in it. His worst line was the Swerve in Our Glory holes.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty tame rap by Max Caster standards, I would say. And of course, Bowens then requests that, Daddy Ass provide him with a pair of scissors.
I'm pretty sure he said, scissor me, Daddy Ass.
I'm pretty sure he just requested that he be provided with a pair of scissors. And then there was an "Oh, scissor me, Daddy Ass" chant in the crowd.
There was.
Anyway, the match starts, and there is a head scissor takedown by Keith Lee on Anthony Bowens that was like, wow.
Yeah.
Swerve interrupts the scissoring though with a drop kick to huge boos, and this sends the match into commercials. After being worked over though for a long time, Caster finally gets a vertical suplex on Lee. He tried this a few times and failed, and he finally manages to get the vertical suplex on Keith Lee. Hot tag to Bowens. Bowens goes absolutely nuts until Swerve drops him with a very creative set of kicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Bowens manages to block the Swerve stomp, and there's a pin attempt for 2. Bowens is then stopped when Lee drops him with a headbutt and just tosses him over the ropes onto the ramp. But then Lee misses a moonsault off the top onto Caster. It's weird you can say these things with Keith Lee. Yeah, a moonsault off the top. Swerve gets on the apron with the boombox, though, misses Caster, lays out Lee. There's a flipping netbreaker by Bowens. Master came down on his knee, though, when he goes to do the mic drop. Looks like he's injured it. Bowens covers Lee and only gets a 2 count. Caster then with a back suplex on Swerve, but he's caught on the top too slow from his knee again. There's a tossed Liger bomb on Caster then for a near fall. Swerve with this crazy 450 leg drop to the Acclaimed on the outside. But outside, he ends up arguing with Billy Gunn, and this is leading out to the finish. The ref is distracted. He's arguing with Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn lands the famouser on Swerve on the floor, then tosses him back in the ring. Bowens hits the arrival on him. Max Caster hits the mic drop on him, and they get the 3 count.
Yeah. I love this match, and I hated the ending. I absolutely hated the ending because I'm like, the Acclaimed are the faces in this entire thing.
Precisely.
But that was a heel move at the ending, having the outside, I guess manager, whomever it is, interfering in the match to such an extent that that's what made you win, right? They should have just won by themselves. I don't understand why they needed to beat Swerve in Our Glory like this, right? That's why I'm like, I love this match, but I absolutely disliked the ending, and I couldn't I have to say first, Keith Lee and Swerve, my God, these guys can go. Like you said it, like Keith Lee, things you're saying about him, like we're saying it like it's normal. And I watched Swerve Strickland today, and I was like, WWE, you're so stupid for letting this guy. He is so amazing. Yeah. So good.
Yeah.
So good. And the ending ruined this match for me. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna give it match of the night because of this stupid ending, but I'm gonna give the wrestler of the night. I'm just throwing something out. I'm gonna give the rest of the night to Swerve because wow, this guy, every time I see him wrestle, that kick he does where he jumps and kicks the guy in the back of the head. What the hell is that? It looks, and the precision on that kick.
Yeah.
He has won me over from the time that he's gotten here, and we're like, who is this guy? Why are they making such a big deal about this?
Yeah.
Tony Khan, I understand why you made such a big deal about this.
Yes.
Because he fantastic. So absolutely. Fantastic match. Stupid ending had to ruin the match for me, and I couldn't give it the match.
By stupid ending, you mean they put the belts on the Acclaimed?
Well, the entirety of the ending.
Listen, okay. Not just putting the belts on the Acclaimed.
No, but if the Acclaimed had won fair and square without anything, right? I would have been like, you know what? Listen, that crowd, the pop, when they got that pop at the beginning, I'm like, yeah, there's no way in hell the Acclaim are going to, even if Tony Khan is to call an audible mid-match, yeah, but the Acclaim they weren't losing this anyway. So yeah, it sucks. I kind of wanted them because again, they're the faces. Why are we doing heel things with the faces?
You know what? I saw that ending and I'm like, there's no way they're going to cover him right now. Like they can't win like this. And then they pin him and I'm like, wait, are you kidding me right now? Listen, taking aside my current dislike for the Acclaim because they're just too popular and they're too Road Dogg and Billy Gunnish gimmicky. They remind me way too much of that little Enzo and Cass, right? But anyway, listen. Listen. That ending, Max Caster needs to write a rap about it and diss his own team because that ending was just terrible. Who the heck came up with that ending?
I don't know.
It was one of the worst endings I've seen in a wrestling match. Like, you have this perfect setup, right? Like, as much as I am not on board with the Acclaimed, as much as I'm the one guy apparently who doesn't love the Acclaimed, listen, I understand what they're doing. Everyone loves the Acclaimed except me. So that's great. Make them the tag champs. I get it. They're going to be really popular. They're over. You need things like that right now. But you gave them the belts in a way that was so fundamentally wrong.
Yeah.
It made them look weak. It made them look pathetic. It made it look like they needed ref distractions and their manager to win. They're not the bad guys.
No.
Right? I mean, and look, a moment to talk about Swerve. That's not just his wrestling. His facial expressions, his behavior. The man tells the perfect story of like the slime ball in your face, cocky heel. I love it. Yeah. He has mastered that. I love heel Swerve so much. And I really hope he continues with this character. Same. Keith Lee looked a little conflicted at the end. So, I guess we're going to get something there, but I'd really like to see these guys stay together for a while longer.
Same. I want to see them be heels.
What I really want to see them do is call out the Acclaimed for needing to cheat to beat them. That's ridiculous. Like they needed their manager to beat them. Come on. So Billy Gunn wins the match for the Acclaimed. And then, of course, they all get in the ring and they immediately ask for pairs of scissors as they run towards each other. No one told them not to run with scissors.
That's true.
Oh,
that's very true.
The Acclaimed. Oh. Anyway, well, that was that match. Not a terrible match. I really enjoyed the match.
Yeah, it was a really good match.
Yeah, I knew who was going to win, but you know, the ending was just...
The ending sucked,
Yeah, it really did. It sucked.
Like, when it happened, I was like, no, this is not the way it's going to go. And it happened.
That's the way it went down. Yep. Well, we go to FTR in the back, and FTR gets to appear on Dynamite, which gets pointed out. Anyway, FTR says, hey, it was Dax that was talking. Or was it Cash? It was Cash that was talking. He goes, I think all 4 guys killed it tonight. Congrats. But, we've been the #1 contenders for quite a while, and we April think 7th. it's. And they get interrupted by the Guns. It's just the gun fest tonight on this show, isn't it? First, Billy Gunn ruins a match. Austin and Colton ruin an FTR promo. That's fine. So they mock them for they're being their ridiculous selves. They mock them for not being on TV, not being charismatic and handsome. And then they go, top guys out. And FTR essentially no sells. And like, yeah, you're really good. Have a good night.
Yeah. I guess, listen. I mean, Colton and Austin play the perfect, like, I guess, again, you just love to hate these guys because they're so stupid. They're so dumb. But I just love the way that they're able to, like, they just mock people to the point where, like, okay, so FTR, are you going to beat them up or are you just let them talk to you like this? Right.
Exactly.
So they did a job. I don't know I don't know what's going to happen. I think what Stokely had said is they want the Ring of Honor tag team championships, right? Is that what he had said?
Could you imagine the guns with the Jericho with the title? I mean, that would be the most ridiculous Ring of Honor ever.
I would watch it so quickly.
So would I, because there'd be so many really angry people that this was Ring of Honor, right? Like, oh man, that would be great. Yep. No, I'm all in on a Austin and Colton Gunn Ring of Honor tag team reign. Oh, anyway. Well, next we go to Wheeler Yuta, and he's out with Tony Schiavone on the ramp. And Tony says, well, Tony, because Tony's asking about what do you think's going to happen in the match tonight? And Wheeler Yuta's like, well, Tony, when it comes to teammates, and immediately MJF's music hits. MJF comes out. He says, cut my music. Questionable queens. The devil has arrived. Questionable queens. I love that. There is a huge pop for this guy. MJF chants. And he goes, and since you all worship the ground I walk on, that makes you my loyal devil worshippers. Right. And then he turns to Wheeler Yuta. What's up, Wheels? You're confused because you'll never receive a reaction like that. It's not just because you're mid. It's because I'm a god to these people. They worship me. They drink my spit if they could. There isn't a single man in the arena that wouldn't let me sleep with their wife, but I won't because I have standards. And he says, I am a generational talent. So Wheeler Yuta says, what you say has some truth. You are a generational talent. You have more catchphrases than friends, and you're the king of low-hanging fruit. Look, someone got engaged recently, but I'm not going to go there. She's a wonderful lady. I met her. She's smart. too smart. She's probably figured you out, that you're a spineless, worthless piece of human garbage. She's going to walk out on you just like you walked out on all of us. MJF applauds and goes, ladies and gentlemen, Wheeler Yuta. He's gone from I'm sorry. Oh, MJF, you ruined my he's gone from drying paint to pet rock personality. I came out to wish your buddies good luck. They're not fighting for the world title. They're fighting to lose the title to Maxwell Jacob Friedman. You can still go to them for advice, though. You can ask Danielson. Can you teach me how to be injury prone and turn my brain into scrambled eggs? You could go to Mox, but he's not all there. And hey, Willie, can you teach me how to pop pills? So at this point, Yuta slaps him. MJF headbutts him, and then he also drops Tony Schiavone. Yuta jumps MJF while he's distracted, dropping Tony Schiavone. But then W. Morrissey shows up, and he gets introduced as W. Morrissey again. He holds him while MJF decks Yuta with the ring, and that ends the segment.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because when they announced that we're gonna hear from Wheeler Yuta tonight, I was like, we're gonna hear from Wheeler Yuta for what exactly, right? I'm like, is he gonna? Is he pissed off about losing the ROH Pure Championship? He's gonna challenge again. But then, yeah, I knew that the minute MJF, I'm like, got it. I mean, MJF is just hilarious, and I mean, like, I love the dig on Yuta because Yuta is not. There's no personality there, right? And he's lacking a lot of that. So I'm very curious where this is going. Like, is MJF going to fight Yuta next just for fun or stuff like that? It's very, very interesting. But hey, we'll see. They got what the crowd got what they wanted. They wanted MJF. They got MJF.
Yep, that's very true. He cut a very MJF style promo, just cutting up the Blackpool Combat Club, got his shots in on Schiavone and on Wheeler Yuta. For all that Yuta is apparently mid, he did okay in this segment.
He did okay.
He wasn't as bad as drying paint or a pet rock. He was decent. He's standing next to MJF, who's like, top 2-3 promos in the entire business.
Yeah, fair enough.
But he did okay. I think that he is actually improving. And hey, they gave him a chance to go out there with MJF.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, that shows a little bit of confidence too. It's still saying, hey, he does have some personality, a lot more than he used to have.
Yeah.
It's better than Dante Martin.
Agreed.
Yes. He's not Daniel Garcia level yet, but he's better than Dante Martin. So, there's these stages in development of promos, right? He's young. He's young. He'll get there. But yeah, no, the segment did what it needed to do and also gave Tony Schiavone plenty of ammunition for the rest of the night. So, yeah, other than that, it was largely just classic MJF insult style promo work. So anyway, we go backstage and we've got Jade Cargill and the Baddies. And she will be defending the title on Rampage against D.M.D. And she's like, I am that bitch. But D.M.D. comes in and says, but my friend is the OG baddie, the baddest bitch, Trina. And I'm like,
yeah,
who?
Yeah, again.
Yeah, I had to look her up.
Yeah, I was like, why?
Yeah.
Why is she out here?
Yeah, Jade just goes, I'm going to see both of you Friday. And Trina goes, yeah, we'll see you Friday.
Okay. Yeah. Trina, the rapper again from I was wrong. So like as I said, early 2000s, right? And I'm like, Tony Schiavone, not Tony Schiavone, Tony Khan, really?
Tony Schiavone.
All right, okay. Again, who cares about this promo? I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care either. I don't like. Did you know who Trina was? Like when they introduced her, oh, that was Trina.
I knew the name. I just when she walked in, like, oh, that's what she looks like.
Oh, I was like, oh, yeah. I was just like, is she a wrestler? Like, why is she on the screen? No. Like, she's some OG wrestler from the indies that I didn't know about from back in the day because she doesn't look like she's new. Yeah, I had to go look her up immediately. I'm like, oh, it's another rapper. Gotcha. Okay, that's fine. And this brings us to shortly before 9. So our 9 p.m. match of the night is Orange Cassidy versus Pac. And they mention right off the top that Orange Cassidy has never defeated Pac. Match opens up with Orange Cassidy throwing his sunglasses at Pac. There's a couple of roll-ups and a Triad and Orange Punch that causes Pac to bail to the outside. Cassidy does his soft kicks, but instead of doing the soft end kick, he goes right into a drop kick, and Pac retaliates with a shotgun drop kick, and basically now the match is on. Pac throws Cassidy into the ring post outside, goes for a black arrow. Cassidy rolls out. This sets up the story, though, like Cassidy being kind of woozy and out of it, and Pac taking advantage of this and does the vast majority of the offense for most of this match. Pac dives over the top, his leg taking out Cassidy, just a crazy dive over the top, and then the top rope shotgun drop kick for 2. We get Orange Cassidy with a high cross body that leads right into a Pac release German, and then a bridge German for 2. There's another black arrow setup, but Cassidy rolls out again, but this time Pac grabs his leg, pulls him back in, and release German. There's a black arrow setup, but Cassidy puts his legs straight up in the air and relaxes back into his hands. So Pac gets mad and comes at him, and Cassidy manages to roll him up for 2. He gets a stun dog millionaire on. This is where Cassidy starts to get rolling, followed by a tope suicida. There's a diving top rope DDT, and he's really fired up now, followed by another DDT for a big near fall 2 count. He sets up for the orange punch, but Pac catches him in an overhead throw, goes for the brutalizer, but this gets reversed, and he lands the orange punch, but Pac's too close to the ropes and grabs it for 2 at 2. Pac hits, then they get outside. Pac gets the ring bell hammer off the table, hides it, and when Orange Cassidy comes over to bring him back in the ring, he smashes him in the face with it. Ref didn't see it. Pac just throws Cassidy in, covers him for 3, and the ref is looking at Pac going, how did you do that? Right? Like, he's out. What did you do? Right? And Pac's like, it was my elbow. so Pac retains the All Atlantic Championship.
Another good match, and like, this is really good. I enjoyed this match, not as much as I enjoyed the Swerve in our Glory match. Very odd endings. I didn't hate this ending as much as I hated the tag team ending. But we talked about this before the show, right? I hate the fact that Orange Cassidy's turning into a jobber, and that's all he's doing. That's all he is now. Now, yeah, and I get it. Maybe they're saving it for. By the way, everyone, in the pre-show I said it was Revolution. It's actually Full Gear. We're on the road too, as Excalibur pointed out. We're on the road to Full Gear.
Well, I didn't correct you, so yeah. My bad too.
Yeah, Revolution is in January. I totally forgot. But yeah, maybe this is going to set up another match, because hey, first off, Pac thought Cassidy was below him. Now Pac has cheated to beat Orange Cassidy. So I feel like the next one is Cassidy will eventually become this champion, right? Because Pac had to cheat. But again, Pac is so awesome. Like, just the fact that he's like, what? And he shows his elbow.
It's my elbow.
Like that's why I didn't hate the ending. I was like, okay, yeah. So you're opening up it's a story. I get it. You're telling a story, and I love it. Pac is so intimidating for a 5'0" dude. This guy, oh my goodness, right? Mr. Serious versus, like, I swear, if Orange Cassidy was the champion, he would drag the belt out. He just like hold it and drag it alongside of him, right? And I love every time Orange Cassidy's new music hits, I'm always like, who the hell is this coming out? And then when it kicks up, I'm like, got it. And did you notice his entrance now? It's like, it's a PowerPoint, which nothing's been filled out. It's like, please insert picture here. Please put this here. And it's just like doubling down his laziness. Yeah. I love Orange Cassidy. I just feel like he is I wouldn't say he's underutilized, because he's used all the time. And that's the thing. He's used all the time. He needs to be rewarded now, because he's that damn good. Yeah. And I'm just sick and tired of watching him lose. But overall, it was a great match.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was a great match. I really enjoyed this match a lot. The story in it was great. I mean, we went from, Pac just brutalizing Orange Cassidy for large parts of it, right, to like Cassidy with his big fire up comeback. Like, when he gets that energy going, where it's like, I'm now super serious, he's almost unstoppable, right? Yeah. Like, I love that about him. And, at that point too, Pac had to cheat to win. So I didn't mind that at all. I was okay with the finish. I don't think this is the same thing as Orange Cassidy just being built up to have one match because they needed someone to sub in on a pay-per-view or something. I think this is different. I think this is going for a story. Yeah. And so because of that, if this is a one and done, I don't like the ending. But if it's not a one and done, I'm okay with the ending, because first of all, it's Pac being the bastard. He was a total bastard winning this match, right? It's just like, I won. I don't care how I win. I'm just going to beat you. All right. Like, you're just a chump. You're like a loser joke chump. I don't even have to beat you with 3. I can just pound you in the face with a hammer. Right. Like, he doesn't treat him seriously at all. And he almost lost because of that.
Yep.
Right. So he had to resort to some underhanded tactics. I really liked it. I liked the story in this match a lot. I liked the match a lot. Not quite my match of the night, but damn close. I really appreciated how they did this. So, kudos to these guys. Match was on the right spot at the 9 o'clock spot. I wouldn't have turned it off if I flipped over at 9 o'clock and saw these guys going at it. So, of course, I would be tuning in regardless, right? So maybe I'm not the person they're trying to suck in. But anyway, yeah, love this match. And I'm okay with the ending. So, yeah, speaking of endings, next up we get Toni Storm, Athena, Britt Baker, and Serena Deeb for the AEW Interim Women's Championship. So early on, we get Athena and Toni taking out Deeb and Baker, and then they go at it for a bit against each other and some, holds and attempted pins. Deeb comes in and then high stacks both of them for a 2 count. The crowd liked this spot quite a bit. Deeb was pretty over with this crowd. Every time she got in there and did stuff, they were pretty strongly behind her. So Deeb ties up Storm, and there's an ab stretch on Athena, and the crowd's quite happy about this too. We get a big Tower of Doom spot with all of them sending it to commercial. There's dueling single leg crabs by Deeb and Storm in the ring, and they're like slapping each other while they have single leg crabs on their opponents. Deeb with a back snap through the ropes to Baker, a dragon screw in the ropes to Athena, then drops Storm for 2, locks the Serenity lock on, but it gets broken up by Britt Baker. Athena then lifts Baker onto her shoulders. Deeb runs at her, but she catches Serena Deeb in the front and then suplexes both of them back in a pretty impressive suplex spot. There was a slingshot powerbomb then to Toni Storm for 2. Storm tosses Athena out. Then she gets Baker in a crucifix. Baker gets her in a crucifix pin for 2. Storm reverses her into her own crucifix. And that was 3.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the aftermatch in a moment, but let's do the match first.
I didn't hate this match. I just thought the ending was weak. That's about it. I didn't understand why the pin. Now, a few things about this match. Athena did an awesome move with that. I don't know what she does now. She's the pop up, and she kind of gets her knee almost into like a code breaker. That's awesome. But she did mess up on the spot for you probably saw it for the Britt and Deeb thing. And when you watch it, man, she landed right on Britt Baker's face, breaking her nose, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, I'm glad Britt's okay, but that could have been a lot worse than it turned out. It
looked really impressive, but man, did she come down wrong on Britt.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where I'm like, guys, you tried it. You know what? Let's not do that again, right? I'm glad that Britt's okay. Overall, the match was great. Like, I honestly Storm looked better. Of course, the other 3 were really, really good. And it told the story which I thought it was going to tell. No, that I thought it was going to tell, and then it just 180'd me at the end when Jamie did show up. I was like, what's going on here? But yeah, no, I thought this match was good. See, here's the thing. Yeah. I don't think any of the matches tonight were bad in any way.
No.
Right? We got a really good show again. So we haven't talked about the last match, but I thought this match was good. Again, my only concern was Britt, and I'm glad she looks okay. Because we don't want a concussion or broken anything like that.
No.
And the thing is that the camera angle showed her Athena landing right on her face, and I was like, oh man. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a good match.
Yes, no, absolutely. And Britt likes bleeding. We know that. So,
but we know.
So
the part where she rubs the blood on Toni Storm's face. I was like, oh, it's so gross.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, I mean, the match itself, I was fine with them. I love Serena Deeb. She's so good.
She's good.
Yeah, all of them were fine. And Toni Storm was fine too.
I think
because she didn't have any prolonged periods where she had to do much. She got her DDT, she got her hip attack. I mean, all of them got in some of their signature spots. It was that kind of match, right? They didn't have a ton of time, so they all got their stuff in, and it did what it was supposed to do. I didn't like the ending either. I thought it was a very weak ending, but that's fine. I mean, Baker then beats down Toni Storm after the match, and then Jamie Hayter comes running out, And she also beats down on Toni Storm and points to Britt, goes, "This is my friend."
My
And
best
they
friend.
hug.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And then all three of them, including Serena Deeb, beat down on Athena. But then some music hits
And
and there's some
everyone was
graphics.
like, "What? Who is this?"
I know. I was like, what's going on? And I was also like, what's going on? And the name Saraya comes up.
Oh,
And I was like, are you
no
kidding?
way. Yeah,
Yeah, I
no
know. Like
way.
this was a real surprise. For those of you who don't know who Saraya is, it was Paige in WWE. But I mean, it's kind of interesting because she actually retired from neck injuries in 2018, but her contract with WWE just came up on July the 7th.
Mm-hmm.
So, she's been out of wrestling now for quite a while. She hasn't wrestled a match in years, but I mean, she's one of those people who is like, her life story is she was wrestling before she was actually born because her mom was pregnant when she was wrestling with Saraya in her womb. So,
Mm-hmm.
so she's always said, I was wrestling before I was actually even born. Um, so yeah, she's been wrestling a very long time, since the age of 14. I was always highly, highly impressed with her in WWE. She put on some of those matches that really started what they called the women's revolution. Um, until, of course, Stephanie ruined it because McMahon's ruined everything. But anyway, I'm incredibly happy to see her here. I'm wondering what her role is going to be and how her neck's doing.
Oh, so okay, so you haven't seen her tweets and stuff like that. Okay.
No, I have not.
So I'm gonna say this year sometime. It was actually like a couple months ago before her contract was up. She actually said she was clear to wrestle again. Like she was actually ready to go again. She was ready
really?
to go back to the ring. And as her contract neared, she kept saying, "I'm not sure where I'm going to be, but I will be back in the ring." Right.
Mm-hmm.
So even when they made the comment, "Oh, what is she even cleared?" Yes, it's like Bryan Danielson all over again.
Right.
She's ready to go. And as she said, this is my house, as she went into the ring, right?
Yes.
So this shocked me. The fans pops because when they saw her name and she came out, like people, I love the reaction of people in the audience. Like they're absolutely just dumbfounded. This is what AEW needs. They need, like, people could say, "Oh, it's another WWE person." No. Their women's division in AEW is lacking. They need talent, as much talent as they have. And we've tried to do some homegrown talent. We've tried, right? Give Tony Khan credit. He's tried. Well, when you have someone like Paige, and hopefully, she's able to get back to the form she was, it adds, I would say, credits to your actual division, because it's you're lacking. So why not have someone who can actually go here? So I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. I'm like, okay, if this was what Tony Khan was talking about, yeah, you're right. I did not expect this. Did not expect this. Right. So yeah, I'm very curious where this is going, because yeah, hey, put the belt on Saraya. I don't care about Toni Storm. Put the belt on her. Right. But yeah, no, this is good. I'm happy to see Paige, and right away I checked Twitter, and it said Saraya is all elite. So Tony Khan, good job. Like this is a big win for AEW.
Oh, huge win. I mean, look, you said the audience popped. I was one of the people popping. I love this woman. She's one of my favorite wrestlers. I was sad to see her retire. I was sad at sort of like the end of her run at WWE because she was one of those gold lights of the original NXT that I just fell in love with back in the day, right? I mean, I was all like telling you guys, why are you watching this WWE stuff? NXT is where it's at, right? And she was one of the people who led that. It was her match. I think it was one with Natalia, and then there was definitely one she had with Emma, Tennille Dashwood, who, by the way, is also a free agent. I'm just saying that we're sort of like, I went, holy crap, they can really wrestle. And it was amazing and really quality stuff. And now she's in AEW. And she is one of the best women's wrestlers I've seen. So I am looking forward to seeing her put on actually good matches with people here, assuming, she might have to shake out some ring rust.
Yeah.
It's been a few years, but hey, I'm willing to give you that kind of time too. Get your wheels under you. It's wonderful to see her here. I can't wait to see her wrestle. So yeah, Good job, Tony Khan. Saraya's all elite, and I'm all in.
Yeah.
Yep. So that takes us to Darby Allin with a body bag on the subway, which is apparently legal in the state of New York. I guess. Anyway, it's labeled House of Black on it. And he says he's heading to a funeral at Arthur Ashe.
Then that was it.
Yeah.
Darby Allin's, and the thing, this went on for a while. This had him dragging the bag across the street, carrying it on the subway. Like, then he's in the cab. I'm like, Darby Allin, you're so weird, but I love it. You're just yourself. I love this. So I it's just a reminder, like, all we've seen recently is just AEW reminding us of the talent they have. Mm-hmm. So, hey, I'm excited for a Rampage.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait to see what Rampage has in store, right? Well, I know what they have in store, but I can't wait to see those matches. So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, and Darby Allin, you know who he is, right? He is a completely sober Jeff Hardy, young.
Yeah, 100%.
That is really who he. Just this wacky sense of creativity that is just so out there and so much fun to watch.
Agreed.
You never know when he's going to come crawling out of a lake as Willow. Then Excalibur vomits. We get a whole bunch of matches announced, but there's only one point of this that I want to point out, and it is the worst tag team name I have ever heard in history. Do you know what I'm going to say?
Is it the Action Bronson and
no, because they didn't actually give them a team name, right? It's Warjo. Wardlow and Samoa Joe. They called them
Warjo.
I'm like, are you kidding me right now?
I think you're wrong. That's like the best team name in the world. I want to see Warjo fight. It's like ScarJo, right?
It is. It's ScarJo, but it's before the scars. It's still in the
Warjo.
war.
It's how she got the scars.
How she got the scar as she was in war. It's Warjo. Oh, seriously, whoever came up with that name, I want to hurt them.
Oh my god.
Terrible, terrible, terrible. You should be ashamed of yourself. Fortunately, that mess was then immediately taken down by the fact that we got Jon Moxley versus Bryan Danielson for the AEW championship. And I had a burning question before this match. You know what that question was?
What was that?
This is a huge stadium. How is Mox going to find the ring? But you know what? He actually got there in under 2 minutes. This was faster than his other times getting to the ring. It was funny. Like, they didn't even get to the guitar solo in the song, and he got to the ring. So, I mean, the fans were clearly like, Mox, it's over there. It's over there. And he got there pretty quick. So I was impressed. Anyway, they mentioned that Bryan Danielson started his ring career in AEW here. You see MJF in a private box with the chip, which apparently they were putting on the Jumbotron above the ring for the whole match. And they showed him periodically on the TV throughout the match. He had a real smarmy look on his face and doing a lot of golf clapping. Sorry, a centipede ran across my floor and briefly distracted me. So anyway, also as a point of interest, they mentioned catch as catch can wrestling in this. Do you know what that is?
No.
Okay. I figured that most people listening probably don't know what catch as catch can wrestling is. It's the original form, really, of professional wrestling. It kind of started in the late 1800s. I'm coincidentally reading a book right now called Storytellers, and they talk about catch as catch can wrestling in it. So this is like fresh in my mind. It's really that sort of Greco-Roman influence, classic grappling wrestling that's based in. It was what professional wrestling started as. Holds. It's like try to catch a hold where you can. Catch as catch can. So it's the idea of grappling, reversals, holds, pinfalls, submissions, all of that stuff. And you would win by pinfall or submission. Eye gouges and stuff weren't allowed, but it was the original form of professional wrestling that developed in the late 1800s. So when you hear that, it's really, we're talking about classic wrestling. And then other styles, of course, influenced it and got put on top of it. So anyway, after history with Bill, we go into the match. So Danielson is constantly going for leg picks early. He ties Mox up and does a bunch of shots to the back of his head. Danielson with a bunch of chops, drop kicks, hits him with the kitchen sink, but misses a corner drop kick. You get back and forth kicks and strikes after that. Danielson with a drop kick to Mox on the top turnbuckle to the outside. His diving knee strike throws him back in. Missile drop kick, a German suplex on the apron to send it into commercial. Like, just so many moves going on. And then he starts to work over Moxley's arm, which is something he tries to do throughout the match, is work over the arm for the label lock, of course. He gets a Busaiku knee on Moxley for 2. And then Mox catches Danielson coming off the top rope into a power bomb and into a single leg crab. He then turns that into a heel hook, going for that foot that was injured last week. Then he does a leg capture release suplex that just looked crazy. Then we get the best move in professional wrestling, the back rake on the top turnbuckle. Then, of course, Danielson shoves Mox on the turnbuckle into the post. We get an avalanche back suplex. They're both down. We see MJF golf clapping. Mox gets a label lock on Danielson. Yes, that's right. Mox got the label lock on Danielson, but Danielson escapes. You see the spot where they're doing headstands and their legs are locked together and they're both slapping each other from a headstand spot. The crowd applauded. This just looked nuts. It was pretty creative. Danielson then with a roundhouse that ends up hurting his foot, gets the King Kong lariat from Mox as a result, but the follow-up's countered and you get another Busaiku knee, this time for 2, but clearly, Mox is starting to look a little worse for wear too. They're both looking pretty tired at this point. Mox takes out Danielson's knee, curb stomp, and a Death Rider for a huge near fall. It was a pretty cool sequence. At this point, they get a fight forever chant. Danielson stomps down Moxley, gets him into the triangle sleeper, but Mox rolls through, but Danielson rolls through again into the label lock. It's locked in tight, but Mox manages to swing to the ropes. Mox gets a Death Rider on the stage, but takes too long to get Danielson into the ring and cover him. Danielson manages to kick out, but then Mox locks in the rear naked choke. Danielson reverses it, but Mox manages to keep the hold. And at this point, all of his weight is down on top of Danielson with the hold. And Danielson goes out. Jon Moxley is your AEW champion for the 3rd time. And Regal presents him with the belt as they go off the air.
I'm not mad at this. I wanted Danielson to win, but I'm not mad. I'm okay. I'm a little mad that Danielson isn't the champ. And again, another person like Orange Cassidy who gets thrown into the matches, puts on amazing shows, and doesn't win a belt ever. That concerns me a bit. So I have concerns with Danielson and Orange Cassidy, but hey, long-term storytelling, I'm okay. Again, I didn't hate this because it's Moxley, and I can't hate Moxley because he is the heart and soul of AEW. Him and Chris Jericho. So I can't. Oh, look at that! They both have belts. I can't hate this because I thought about this. MJF versus Jon Moxley is a better story than MJF versus Bryan Danielson, because Jon Moxley stands for everything that is AEW. And MJF just wants to tear everything. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about any of that stuff. He cares about money. That's all he's concerned about. So this is a better story. Mm-hmm. And if one person deserves to be the champion 3 times, hey, why not? Why not Jon Moxley, right? Like, I mean, this is kind of sticking it to like everyone saying, yeah, you know what? You guys thought we were going to give it to Danielson? Nope. John, here's the belt again. Once again, right? It's your belt. The match was great. The match was fantastic. I thought again this was going to be a slow match and a lot of submission. No, they moved quickly. And okay, AEW, fix your cameraman, okay? You know where the action's going to happen. Because again, sorry everyone listening, wrestling is staged. So you know where the action is going to happen. How are we missing moves? Why did I see Danielson fly across the screen and hit Moxley? I'm like, wait, where'd he come from? Like, guys, the guy in the truck, guy in the truck, whoever you are, get better angles for these, right? This is not, because it's not the first time this has happened. This is happening multiple, even at the beginning with the Jericho thing. That old guy walks across the screen at one point. I was like, what's going on? Anyways, right? Yeah, no, this match was great. Like we had said, these guys are gonna beat each other down. When Moxley held on to the headlock off the top rope, yeah, I was like, okay. you know what, this is where Danielson's going out, because they said all his weight, Danielson's flat on the ground. Like, and then afterwards, Danielson looks very pissed off, but they cut because they didn't ran out of time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of curious what happened after the match. But,
yeah, me too.
Right. But great match. You know, I'm not upset about the win. I'm glad John Moxley deserve it, man. Like, take it. It's yours. But I'm very curious now. Mox versus MJF for the belt. The buildup is going to be insane, because if MJF can cut the heel promo, Mox just cuts the face promo. The entire anything he says, the people just eat it up. I'm very curious how people are going to yay and boo this now.
Yeah, well, hopefully they'll cheer for the right guy, which is clearly John Moxley. I wasn't upset with this ending at all. Remember, I said earlier, if you're gonna have MJF versus him
it's gonna be
November,
Mox,
it's gonna be Moxley, right? Because they're not gonna take the belt off Danielson.
Yeah,
we have an interesting story coming up here, right? Because we have first of all, the match. Let me get to the after match. The match itself, I loved the match of the night.
Yeah,
match of the night. Fast. Two guys just killing each other, both going after weaknesses. You know, Danielson working the arm. Mox was going after his leg a bit, but just classic Mox, just killing him. There were like some great moves, great counters, great holds. You know, just well wrestled, sharp as hell. I was entranced the whole time. Near falls that I bid on. You know, so
Same.
It was Same. So
two Death Riders Danielson got, and he kicked out.
He kicked out of both of them. I know, just crazy. And one of them on that ramp, that just looks vicious. Yeah, and they both guys they work their asses off in this match. I'm gonna mention something about the cameraman. Sometimes I think they might miss some of the cuts, because something interesting I heard about the Danielson Jericho matches, right, were that they're calling those on the fly.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like they're actually improvising huge chunks of those matches. They're not all scripted out or planned, right? They're improvising huge chunks of it. So the cameraman and the guy in the back don't necessarily know what's coming from what angle, right? Like some of it is invented on the fly. The more experienced the wrestlers, the more likely they're able to do that, right? So you never know. That said, if you know that that's a possibility, watch your angles.
Yeah.
I can forgive the occasional one of those because it's live television and they're human, they make mistakes. But you're right, it happens an awful lot with AEW where they miss an angle, and it's like, guys, I know you have a lot of fancy toys in your ring post cameras and stuff, but can we maybe make sure we catch the major points of the match?
Yeah.
But man, I loved this match. I loved it. So the finish was great. I love the way that he had, like, you saw him in the hole and you knew Danielson was done. There's no way he was getting out of that the way that Mox had it locked on, right? It was just, his whole body weight's across. Why doesn't he do this more often with this hold, right? I mean, it makes sense. But anyway, great match. The end. I am very intrigued with where they're going, because I don't think this is the end of Danielson's story in the title. I think that, we're going to get Mox and MJF at Full Gear.
Okay.
Yep. So I think we're going to get Mox and MJF. I think MJF's going to win the title. He's going to have his little thing with Okada. Okay. But in the background, you're going to have Danielson coming up, because Danielson's going to be like, listen, like, listen, right? And I think the one who's actually going to take the belt off of MJF is Bryan Danielson.
No way. You think this?
Yep.
Okay, people, everyone listening. Today is September 21st, 2022. Yep. Bill has just predicted that Bryan Danielson is going to take the belt off of MJF.
Yep.
That is probably the boldest prediction I've heard in a very long time. Bryan Danielson, the guy who's lost to the Dragon Slayer himself, but given that was warranted. Like, you're saying he's going to, and just me, listen, I would be over the moon if that happened.
Yep.
Right. But okay, you know what? I hope you're right. I'm remembering this day.
Can you do me a favor? When you get there, can you tell me, because it's going to happen, can you tell me what's on the dark side of the moon? Because you will be on that side when you go over it.
That's right. I'll tell you. It's like aliens and Transformers and everything. Every scary thing you've seen in the movies.
Right.
It's on.
They're all on the dark side of the moon. They all have their little sections on the dark side of the moon.
And also, like, some of those crappy Marvel stuff, like the Inhumans, they're also on the dark side of the moon. So yes. Okay, again, I'm just beside myself right now because you made such a bold prediction.
I am, and I just have to call you out on your Inhumans comment because, these days, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., with the Inhumans and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., compare that to any of the really crappy Marvel shows out today. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kills them all.
Well, actually, just off topic for one quick second, I watched a review for Andor, and they're calling it the best Star Wars show because it doesn't feel like the Star Wars TV shows they put out recently.
Well, Rogue One doesn't always feel like Star Wars either, and it's one
Exactly,
of the
but they're saying
greatest
it
Star Wars
feels
movies ever made.
exactly. They said it feels a lot like Rogue One. So, anyways, we're back on
Yes,
topic.
before our audience turns us off
Yeah.
entirely for talking
What?
about Star Wars and Marvel.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, no,
so
I like that prediction of yours. I do. And who knows?
Yeah, no, I think I'm right. I have a pretty good track record.
Yes, we are elitists. Yes, I think I'm right.
Yeah, I think I'm right. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. So yeah, no, it's I think it's a good story, and I am very much looking forward to seeing what happens. It's almost like they went, okay, guys, that CM Punk stuff happened where he beat Mox for the title. Okay, where's our giant eraser? Okay, we've now erased it. Mox has the title again. Can we just reset, pretend none of that happened, and now let's go on with some plot lines as if we brought back MJF to fight Mox in the first place?
Yeah, which could have been the story to begin with, because it is possible that CM Punk wasn't returning that early, right, when he returned. So yeah, no, this is a very interesting time, like Mox versus MJF, and you're right. I think we're all in agreement. MJF's gonna beat Mox for that belt.
Yes.
But then you're right. It's gonna be MJF bragging about what he's gonna do, the bidding war, and the person who cares nothing about the money and stuff like that, who's also a part of the Blackpool Combat Club. You're right. Yeah, I've never thought about that. Bryan Danielson challenging him for that title eventually. Okay, hey, yep. I'm down for that.
Yep, exactly. It's gonna be, and somewhere in there he's going to have to beat Moxley again too, right? But unless Moxley is sent out with injury
for the first time, who knows? Yeah, no, it's
gonna
be that's gonna be good. I do like that prediction.
Yep. But that about wraps up our review of AEW Dynamite Grand Slam. But as we know, before we go, we like to give our one phrase that summarizes the evening.
The one phrase that summarizes the evening. Yeah, no, you know what? I am going to use this. I've used this a couple times. I'm going to use this again because I did give him the star of the night, right? In my eyes. But whose house? Swerve's house. And thank you, Tony Khan, for hiring Swerve Strickland, because he has become one of my favorite wrestlers in such a short period of time, like a Will Ospreay. In such a short, as well, I guess you can see the trend of the wrestlers I like, right? Like the athletic, acrobatic wrestlers. Jim Cornette's probably like hating everything about those guys right now, but wow, that's all I'm gonna say. Yep. Wow.
I gotta ask you though, because you never said what was your match of the night.
No, I said I agree with you.
Okay. The match. Oh, okay. I didn't realize you agreed with me. Okay, cool. So fair enough. Match of the night. So we both agreed on that. My phrase that summarizes the evening is quite simple. Danielson will win the title from MJF.
As I said, bold prediction. Like, I'm still shocked that you said that. But and of all people, I would never have predicted Danielson beating MJF at that belt. Huh.
Exactly. Gotta ask though, last question. Anything reach the Omega level tonight?
Okay. Omega level tonight. Now, again, last week I got kind of soft and on the entire wrestling event and said, oh, every match, like I give the entire thing an Omega level. But I shouldn't have done that because this week was better. I'm not gonna lie. This week was better. So many ways.
It can't all be Omega level.
And it can't, and it's I don't think. No, I'm gonna say no, because I hated the ending of this Swerve match. And I really, really, really like the Danielson match, but Omega level? No, I don't think so. But what do you think?
I'm in agreement with you too. There was nothing on the show that was Omega level. The last match came close, but wasn't where I would put the Omega level.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yep. And that's a good spot to point out that, as the great one always says, goodbye, everybody, and good night. Bang.
Good night, everyone.